It's the first day of Suboptic 2013, and the conference is in full swing. Companies from all over the globe are making a showing in the exhibition hall. Designs of stands showcasing each company's unique capabilities range from the elaborate to the simple. Some have prominent displays of their product, while others have interactive programs that promote their enterprise. All displays will be completed for the evening reception. While the exhibition hall is prepared, workshops were held on topics like areas of marine jurisdiction and providing cable systems for countries whose demand is too low to sustain the high-speed connections that are common today. One of these masterclasses was on the importance of product reliability, both to system owners and component providers. Covering each side of the issue were Tony Frisch of Xterra and Edward West of Vodafone. They start by explaining the importance of reliability, that failures of systems and components hurts both the owner and the company that sold the equipment. Preparing for the eventual failure of a system was the main topic of the workshop. The math examining the problem sometimes held surprising results.
And using that from the supply side, very good idea.
West and Frisch presented a few ways of calculating reliability, which would help companies better prepare with replacement components. They were both left feeling that their presentation was well received.
That's a good question. I think, well, personally, I find the method 4, the confidence level one, the one we use, the easiest because it's simplest to calculate while being reasonably rigorous. And it's sort of based on empirical evidence that it seems to be about right. But it's, if you're a purist and you want it to be done from first principles, then that's not good enough. You want to use the mean time to repair, effective and mean time to repair method.
I think, again, you need to just make sure you understand what it is that you're really trying to optimise. And if you focus on that, then just so long as you don't get confused by the calculation, I don't think it matters which calculation you use. I happen to like one of them better than others, but that's just me personally.
Which one's that?
That's the Markov one. Because it's nice and easy to do on a spreadsheet.
And what should companies be focusing on optimizing? I mean, I appreciate that it's different depending on what side of the issue you're on.
Well, it depends. It's case by case. As I was trying to say about the circumstances, it depends whether your cable system is, having to have its own protection in the system, or whether it's one piece in a big puzzle with someone's global network. So, in the latter case, you can get away with a low availability target of this system because you've got protection on other routes. But if you're in a particular country with only one or a small number of cable systems out of it, you need to make sure that system is always up. You have to build in a lot of redundancy and a lot of protection. So it's horses for courses.
And I'd say you should focus on where the money goes, because in the end this business is getting more and more about trying to optimise the way you spend your money. So I don't think that there's actually a great deal of difference between the supplier and the user. We're both trying to get the best value of money.
Later in the day, another masterclass was held showcasing the ever-important legal side of the industry. Mike Conradi and Simon Airy from the law firm DLA Piper spoke in turn on two distinct aspects of law.
So what I'm going to cover on the due diligence is the topics on this slide. The context that I'm thinking of really is that you're looking at a potential debt or equity investment into either an existing submarine cable system or into a new one. And the kind of issues that the lawyers who are looking at that on behalf of the potential debt or equity investor, what kind of issues are they going to be looking for, what are they going to be trying to thrash out, and I'll try to come up with a few examples from recent experience that might be instructive for you. I'm going to cover the topics here.
In his presentation, Conradi worked through various aspects of due diligence that a project would require, including jurisdiction, permits, security, and commercial issues like clarifying aspects of the construction contract and the landing agreement. The presentation supported the message that due diligence is a big deal and worth hiring a lawyer who knows what he's doing.
Yes, I suppose that's right. That might sound a bit self-serving, but yeah, I think lawyers that are familiar with the industry will be better at spotting the issues and understanding what's normal and what isn't normal, and what a potential investor should be and shouldn't be worried about, whether it's even possible to get what they might be asking for. So, with the example that we spent a little time talking about was whether it's possible to take security over an IRU or over some kind of capacity contract, which some lenders might be expecting to get, and which actually they might need to understand that it isn't possible to get what they're asking for necessarily.
Aries' presentation, on the other hand, was a foreboding message about the changing climate around kickbacks.
Whilst in the United Kingdom we are punch drunk on what is probably the most controversial piece of criminal legislation to have been passed in living memory. That's the UK Bribery Act, which was enacted in 2010 and came into force on the 1st of July 2011. It's controversial because it completely consolidates all previous law relating to bribery and corruption. It has been described as the new gold standard in anti-bribery and corruption enforcement and legislation in the world. And whether or not it applies to you or our clients, it is now being treated as the benchmark below which companies cannot fall. So if I have one message for all of you today, it's return to your companies and check at least that those that care about these things, those who are charged with ensuring that they are fit for business, are aware of the principles we'll talk about today.
He dealt primarily with showing some depressing statistics regarding the willingness of businesses to cut the red tape with gifts and privileges, and the new Bribery Act in the UK, which is just the latest in a trend by governments in cracking down on corporate bribery.
I think people were interested, and that was really the theme of what I was trying to develop, why people should be interested. The number of game changers we spoke about today, and if you can summarize those as being 2 or 3, I think those 2 or 3 messages got home pretty strongly today.
And what would you say are the main messages that you were going for?
I think the main message is that we all understand what bribery and corruption is, what the risks are, and how we can avoid them most of the time. But there's been a game changer, and the game changer is the risk of enforcement. The risk of enforcement is never higher than it is at the moment. Regulators around the world are competing for attention, for the big fines. We've certainly seen some incredible headlines over the past few years, and they're getting more lurid. That means that what has been going on for years in many industries is now at risk of being discovered and prosecuted like never before.
The day was topped off with an enthusiastic crowd at the official opening reception in the recently completed exhibition hall. Drinks and canapes were enjoyed as industry leaders reacquainted themselves and kicked off the Suboptic 2013 conference. Follow STF Today at SubTelForum.com for the latest in Suboptic 2013 coverage. This episode was brought to you by Suboptic 2013 and AP Telecom.